Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds podcast. I'm your host tonight, Topher Sheeler. I'm joined by my co-host, the one and only Mr. Rob Adams.
What up, what up?
We got one heck of a show for you guys. This is one that you do not want to miss. Rob, tell us who we got.
No, man, I know I say this a lot. I'm excited for this guest, but this is something we talk. I've never had a shallow conversation with this person. We always leave. I've journaled more from conversations that we've had. I know that sounds however you want it to sound, but like when I leave with a nugget of value. And so hang on tight because you're about to learn something, hear some things that you need to hear that maybe if you just take a second and take a breath, this is a message that you need right now.
Tonight's guest is Tiffany Peterson. We'll grab a quick word from the sponsor and we'll jump right in.
Welcome to the American Masterminds podcast.
This episode is brought to you by AHA Realty.
If someone is thinking about buying or selling real estate, I always recommend they hire the best agent for the job.
Not all agents have the same skill, dedication, and commitment to results.
And there are a lot of moving parts in real estate, and a lot of things could go wrong.
Having the right team is critical to having a successful transaction.
My team and I provide exceptional customer service for our clients that is second to none.
We only ask that you give us the opportunity to sit down with you and ask you about your goals and interview for the job.
If you don't use me as your agent, I will never be upset. I'm just grateful for the opportunity to interview for the job.
Please reach out so we may share with you what we do to obtain excellent results for our clientele.
Do I remember how we met?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, but I think it was you got on my radar with Thanksgiving Heroes because some friends were sharing that. And I was like, ooh, that speaks to me and I want to know more about that.
Right. So you invited me down to your house in, is it Orem? Is that where it is? Anyway, Utah County. I went down there and you and I were visiting and then your husband came home and we had been talking for like 45 minutes and then he sat down and we visited for like 3 hours. It was like the best visit. And I'm like, I'm going to be friends with these people for the rest of my life.
Oh,
like,
no kidding.
Yeah, it was just so natural. And we talked about everything from like religion, spirituality. We talked the whole scope. And I was just having such a wonderful time. And then he came in. I'm like, okay, when you add a new energy to a conversation, it could totally shift. And he just jumped right in. He's like, well, now what are we talking about? And he got right to it. And you guys have been coming and delivering meals for Thanksgiving's Heroes ever since, plus fundraising with the turkey. Can you talk about that? Just like that idea? Because when I saw that, I'm like, what is happening right now?
Well, so Thanksgiving Heroes came on my radar again probably 2.5 years ago. And I just felt really drawn to that. I was raised by a woman that is an incredible angel, my mom. And she always, around the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, had us doing things that were always some form of a give back, right? And whether we were serving meals down at, the Orthodox Church to the homeless, to taking meals to shut-ins through Salvation Army, we'd done things like that over the years. And I always feel like the holidays actually feel more like the holidays if there's some kind of service. And so because she instilled that in me, seeing what you guys were doing, I'm like, I wanted to jump in, and we did. And we went the first year and helped fundraise a little bit. And then once we delivered those meals, and I just loved doing it and being part of it. And so this last year, this season, I was like, I want to step up and commit to my own personal goal that I'm going to fundraise for. And so I did so, and I'd put it out there on social and had shared it with some friends on text and things like that. And we'd fundraised a little money, but I was like way behind the goal that I set for myself. And so I was like, we got to turn up a notch or 10. And so I was like, what can I do to help me fundraise? And it was, kind of a time around sometimes that, there's a lot of people asking for money and a lot of groups fundraising. And it was just, we've been in kind of a challenging time market-wise and economic-wise, and not to give too much energy to that, but just the reality in the room is like, seeing fundraising across the board was down for lots of groups.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I was like, how can I also bring some levity to this and make this fun? And I was sitting in a Pilates class on the reformer, right? And I see this vision of me with like a bird on my belly. And I was like, and first I'm thinking like a frozen bird. I'm like, I'm not going to haul this heavy thing around. Long story short is I find one on the internet that's like an inflatable turkey, and it gets here, blow it up, and then I take it with me through the week and we film it at the Pilates studio. I had TV that week, so down at KSL, because I do TV about once a month for our local market. And took the bird there. And then I had this speaking gig. And I said to I have a membership community called Thrive, which I just love them. And they're all over the US, some even international. And we meet once a week in coaching and things like that. Well, I was like, you guys, should I do this? Do you dare me to like get on a professional speaking stage?
Paid to be there.
I was paid to be there.
Yeah.
This wasn't just like showing up to give a little talk. It was like, this is a professional environment. Will you pay, will you dare me to do this? And I was like, and they were all like, you should do it. And so then I put myself out there and dared myself. Well, so I did it. Meanwhile, like the minutes before I went up on stage, I'm like sweating, I'm pacing. I'm like, because part of my own thoughts are, gosh, doesn't that, is that really professional, Tiff? Like,
what will they think?
What will they think? And this, that. And I did give my event planner who had hired me a heads up just to run that by her. Because again, this is her event.
Sure.
And when you're a professional speaker, you are working for the person that's put you in the room.
Right.
And you want to be mindful of that. And so she was like, yeah, great. But I just tied it right into my talk is like, when you're behind on a goal, are you willing to double down? And are you willing to put yourself out there and be outside your comfort zone, especially in the name of like fundraising to put meals on tables at Thanksgiving and beyond? You guys do work all year round where you're feeding people who are, food challenged. And especially last November when there were the issues with the SNAP program, and some people that even more so in November were struggling to have food resources. I was like, at some level, can I cuss on this?
Oh yeah, please.
At some level, well, I don't normally do that, but at some level, I just was like, who cares, basically? Like, I'm going to put myself out there. Like, I'm not ever wondering where my next meal has come from. How lucky am I?
How lucky.
And so, but there are people out there that don't have the platform that I have or don't have the voice that I've got in terms of like ability to do that. And so I was like, we're going to go for it. And it did. It's put me outside my comfort zone, but I tied it right into that is, are you willing to be outside your comfort zone to have what you want? Because everyone that's listening, and the both of you, and I know myself, the things we really want in our lives, it's like they require us to stretch and grow. And sometimes it's not that life is always outside your comfort zone to grow, but it's often
most of the time
is growth and comfort aren't in the same building.
Yeah.
You're either in the building of growth or you're in the building of comfort. And comfort is often what is sabotaging our growth. We're all like, hey, yeah, do you want to make more money? Because that's often what I get hired to help people do is help them grow their sales. Do you want to make more money, or do you want to attract a great relationship, or you want to create more of what you want? Yes. But can I do it with on my couch in my comfy blanket while everything's snuggly and buggly and cozy? That just doesn't go together.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's the gist of Thanksgiving Heroes with fundraising for you guys in this last season. Was I was behind on a goal, and I'm like, we're going to step it up and, and go for it and just leave everything on the field, as they might say.
Oh man, that's wonderful. I think the goals that I've set, the BHAGs, as they call them, the big, hairy, audacious goals, and the goal is really proportional to the amount of what is it you're willing to do in order to make it happen. There's no big, amazing thing that's going to ever happen in my life that doesn't have a price, some kind of a price associated with it. And the question then is, am I willing to pay the price? And if I can, then and the price usually isn't as bad as I imagine it. That's the thing that I want to say is like, when you got on the stage and you were doing that thing, it looks like you had a great time doing it. I had several of my friends that were at that event that posted pictures of you doing that. And so stepping outside your comfort zone created an exposure, an opportunity for you to be seen by perhaps others that you would have never been seen by. And so I think that there's always these unknown results when you make a decision to do something like that. And so thank you. That's amazing.
Oh, you're welcome. So much fun.
Yeah, it was good. It was
Yeah.
good. So in your coaching, and you just said kind of briefly, the coaching that you do is to, I would imagine there's lots of people who have different intentions for the coaching that you do, but helping them increase their sales and to increase their volume in business. Like, are you an efficiency coach, or what is it that you do specifically?
Most often I do sales coaching, and my background heavily is in sales training. I had a really exciting sales career that I never in a million years thought I was going to have. Like, I was not ever going to be a business girl or a sales girl, get real. Like, that was not in the thoughts growing up. And
when I grow up,
especially growing up here in Utah, that was not part of my thoughts and thinking, but understanding how much sales are really, of course, relationship based, which we've talked a lot about that. And I am most often hired to help people grow their sales, their influence, their platform, their scope of efficiency within business, of how do I be more successful. And we work on things that are sales related, like your sales funnel. That's a really important piece to a business, is how you take the next step in relationship. Just like sales and dating have a lot in common. Like you progress typically a relationship in dating. Well, you progress typically a relationship in sales. And to have different levels of offerings and opportunities where people experience you and your expertise, your product or your service. And so it's definitely sales oriented. However, the nuance is that I'm most often working in the entrepreneurial market, or people who are some form of self-employed, or their income is directly on their shoulders, like someone in real estate. Like you saw me speak at that event in January, and for a bunch of realtors and folks in mortgage and title. And so while I have coached and do coach people who are not self-generating revenue, like they're not self-employed, entrepreneurial, but that does happen to be most of my clientele that I'm working with. But the other dynamic that comes with that is what you'd also call life coaching in essence, but I call it alignment work, is the inner work, is the thoughts, the identity-based work. All of you are living up to your current identity, right? So that's why we can know, like, what are the habits I need to do to be healthy and in shape? Or what are the habits I need to do to make more money? We know all that content, but often we're not aligned to the identity of the person that produces at that level, or that is attracting the love, or is it having the health or the wellness, because I don't see myself in that kind of body, or I don't see myself in that kind of relationship. It goes against my nervous system programming that is, I am broken, or I am this, or I'm struggling, or this is this thing or that thing.
I am unworthy.
Right.
That's a big one.
That's everyone's
PS.
Wound,
right?
By the way, everyone, big news alert.
Yeah, surprise.
Some form of like, I'm not enough. But so I do some of the, of course, with the sales training, we put that into alignment, but we also work on the inner alignment game, which is the thoughts, the self-confidence, the self-care, the habits that we're practicing that help people have a capacity to hold the very success they say they want to have show up in their life. Is, can you hold the thing you say you want? Versus like, ooh, it sounds like a great idea, but if all of that showed up overnight, for most people, it would crush them. That's why most people that win the lottery or come into a lot of money pretty quickly, many times it's not around within 18 months to 3 years, because they haven't developed the capacity to hold that kind of wealth.
So, oh man, there's a lot to unpack there.
Different dynamics. So when people say, are you a sales coach or a life coach? It's like, yes. And it's an alignment work of on the inside as well as on the outside. Because sometimes in the world we're in right now, everyone's so stuck on, well, I've got to be perfectly healed. I've got to do all the healing work, which I'm a fan of healing work and do it myself, from therapy to, spiritual work or different things that you might be connected to. Yes. But many times people are like, oh, I need to be perfectly healed. Then I'll really go make my mark on the world.
No.
And there is kind of a hybrid between, do the work while you're also still taking action and you're making things happen. Because me just sitting on my couch visualizing, all these successful outcomes, I still have to put in effort.
Yeah.
You need both.
I believe that the best salespeople, it is an inside job. If you don't believe in your value, if you don't believe in the value of the product which you're selling, if you don't believe in your worthiness, then it's almost as though your clients, the people that would buy, can smell that and they won't. And then you're not disappointed because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're not going to do it anyway, or I'm not smart enough or talented enough, or whatever your story is. If you have a limiting belief, just like Ford says, if you believe it to be true, then it will be. It's how it is. And so in order to be good, really very good at sales, you have to have a core, almost set of values that you can take with you that is internal, but it's wildly evident externally.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to ask you this question, am I in alignment with what you're saying?
I think absolutely.
What would be the biggest disconnect? And I love this, by the way. This has been my sales journey. I am in sales, and I'm really very good at my sales because I believe deeply that I'm doing a service for people, and that's my core belief. If I'm not doing something of service or value that serves someone, I can't get behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be something where it's meaningful. It's not just this spearmint gum or this spearmint gum. It's something that will make a difference in your life forever. And that's important to me. And so because of that, I'm really good at my job. What would you say in creating that persona, the salesperson persona, is the biggest disconnect for your clients?
Well, it's exactly what you're touching on. The biggest disconnect is some form of that belief, right? Or connecting into the identity of and what they're seeing. And for most people, when you hear, just for those of you listening, just take a quick little pulse for yourself, a little survey, if you will, is when you hear the word sales or selling, what are your very first initial thoughts, feelings, or gut reaction?
High pressure, kind of greasy.
Yeah. Topher, what would you say?
If I can be totally honest with you, my dad but the whole mantra was sales was everything.
Yeah.
Everything that we touched was sales. If you're playing baseball, you're selling yourself. You're constantly selling yourself all the time. So I was a little unique on that one. When I hear sales, it's
a positive association.
It's a positive association.
See,
yeah.
I love that for you because again, for most of us, we weren't modeled that. And so we all are a product of our environment, right? And I don't think most of us, when we were like, you go back to being 8 or 9 or 10 years old, you're like, what did you want to be when you grew up? Right? When you said that, it's like most of us were thinking, oh, I wanted to be, maybe it was a baseball player or a doctor or a teacher or a veterinarian. I had a thing about that when I was a little girl. It's like, oh, I want to be a veterinarian. But the reality of most of us weren't raised thinking, when I grow up, I hope I'm in sales.
Yeah.
And nor were our parents thinking, gosh, when Rob gets there, when my son or Topher's really arrived, they're in sales. Sales was kind of the leftover career for kids who couldn't figure it out and get a degree or figure out, you know what I'm saying? Like not understanding exactly what you already knew and you were so blessed to have modeled is like sales are relationships, communication skills. It's the heartbeat of anything you want to do in life. We just didn't know that. And so many people have an association to sales or selling and their gut tightens up.
Yeah.
Their anxiety spikes. Their nerves kick up. Because why? All of us at some level absolutely do care what other people think. I'm saying at some level. Some people are not like hugely snagged by that. They're like, yeah, whatever. Or they've developed so much self-confidence or they're like, I'm going to be whoever I am and forget about it, But most of us are somewhere on that level of you care what other people think. You care about belonging. You care about inclusion because we are humans that need other humans and community. And we care about that very deeply. And so this concept of where most people get stuck in sales is really from just a guttural level of what will other people think of me or what I call image management.
Fear of rejection.
Right. Because see, if I frame it in this conversation, I say, how many of you want to serve or help more people solve their pain or get their needs met? And everyone's like, oh, me, I want to do that.
Yeah.
But when you're like, hey, how many of you want to sell people their home or a car or jewelry or coaching or tech or gadget, whatever? And it's like, because again, a lot of that is based back to identity and back to, do I have the capacity? Because see, I wrote this in my notes feature on my phone the other day because I'm in a negotiation with a client on something. And we'll see where it goes. It's still, as the moment of this recording, I'm not sure which direction this is going to go. But I was able to hold firm / like open and dialogue, but I also wasn't feeling all freaked out on the inside. I wasn't feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to fix that or I'm uncomfortable. It's like, I know who I am and I know what I offer and I'm willing to help them figure out an option. But also like, if they say no, I'm not going to fall apart. But a lot of people, their fear is like, if I put myself out there, I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of being judged. What will people think of me? Are they going to see me as the person that's sleazy, used car salesperson energy? Like that's again, all of what you're talking about is image management. But when you tune it into like, I want you to go out and serve more people with the product or service that you offer. Do you believe in your product or service? So many times if I'm with a live audience, I'll say, okay, let's just take a pulse. How many of you would say you have on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 is high and feels great and solid, 1 is low. How many of you, where would you rate yourself of how confident are you in the product or service you represent? 10s, right? 9s, 10s, strong, like, oh yeah, I so believe in this product, this health product, this wellness routine, this, coaching thing, selling homes, selling whatever, right? They're like, yeah, I'm totally believing that. And I'm like, where's your confidence in sales or selling? And this is where the gems really show up. And often we're never at all 10s in the room. We might have a lot of 7s, 8s, and 9s, but then you still have a bunch of 6s, 5s, 4, 3, whatnot. Like that just has a lot of, it's a lot less firm.
Right.
And it's like, you guys, the gap between you have total confidence in what you're selling. And that's a little heads up too. If you don't have total confidence in what you're selling, if you're not at a 9 or a 10, you might want to consider something else. Because I think sales is hard enough, so to speak, if you're not believing fully in the product or service you're representing. But that being said, is like we're in this gap between, well, I totally believe in what I do, that this product can change people's lives. This is an example. Okay. But then there's this gap between my confidence to sell or sales or selling of it. And it's like, that's where the real gems are, is like, what's the gap? And there's where your gold is in the gap. And they will say, well, the gap, what if I get rejected, or what will people think? Or if I really go for this, like, what if that disrupts things at home? Or what would my parents say? Or whatever. My mom always wanted me to be X, Y, or Z. And if I'm out here doing this, you know what I'm saying is it's just awareness in that concept of in that gap. It's like, okay, what's the story you're telling yourself? And years ago, I flew down to Las Vegas for 24 hours, right? To attend a Tony Robbins, this network marketing event. And I had some clients there and they had an extra ticket, and it wasn't for one company in network marketing or direct sales, but this gentleman was hosting this thing, and Tony Robbins was one of their big flagship speakers. And these gals who are just vibrant women all over the US were like, hey, we're in Las Vegas. We have this extra ticket. You want to fly down and come join us? And I was like, yeah. But I had to be back to speak at something else. So I flew down and literally was in Las Vegas for like 23 hours. And I came home like wrecked and I didn't have anything to drink. I was not partying, but we went to this Tony Robbins event. And I was like, if I'm here, I'm going to play full out. Right?
Let's go.
And this was like a 4-hour experience with him. And, he gets you up and down, change your state, as he calls it, and this and that. And we were like, I drank all the Kool-Aid, you guys. I was like, wow, yeah, Tony Robbins. You were just like, I can change my whole life, just like you're just riding that. And then, but part of his event, he said something that was so strong and so like resonant, but he would say this, is he would say, what's the story you keep telling of why you don't have what you want?
Why you don't have what you want?
What's your
story?
What's the story of why you don't have what you want?
Because everyone has one. We all do.
Everyone has one. And it might be in a different area. Like some of you listening, you're like solid in sales and solid in business, but maybe love is that area of your life that you think, oh man, love doesn't last for me. Men or women, this or that. It just, or maybe love is really solid in your life, but you have this health thing or this yo-yoing with health, or money just will not stay in your life. It comes in, it goes out. It cannot hang out with you. It's got to always be on the go. And you're like, what the heck, money? Why are you always leaving me? Why are you always stressful? And so it's usually in one of those 4 areas that you can see a lot of beliefs or stories that come up, is like sales and business, love and relationship, money, finances, health, wellness, right? These are our big 4 on the table usually. And it's like, what's going on there? What's the story that you keep telling yourself of why you don't have what you want? And then he went on to say this simple statement where he said, if you can change your story, you'll change your life. And I thought, interesting. So I took this Tony Robbins. We like slept in the Vegas hotel room with the like black curtains blocked out. woke up the next day, felt like I had a Tony Robbins hangover. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, these girls know how to party. And it's with like personal development, you know. We didn't hit the strip. We didn't go out. It was just that. And then saw Richard Branson speak the next morning. And then I got on a flight, flew back to Salt Lake. But the point is, like, we all have stories. I have them still. So even though I coach this, I still get to always be a student of the work. I've never, ever gotten to a point where I'm like, I know it all.
Got this.
Hot damn, look at me. I got it all. But I have tools. And that's the difference, is that I have tools that I come back to often, because there's this phrase I love to say that just came out of my mouth once, and I've said it many times now, is the weeds always return. This is natural law. Like, I have a lot of weeds in my front yard right now, you know, as we're just coming into spring, and they're going to get handled. But even once you handle them, they always come back. And I think that isn't meant to be discouraging, but your limiting beliefs and your self-worth work is going to be a lifetime relationship. And not to be scared when the weeds pop back up and the things show up, because sometimes, I know myself, years ago, I'd worked with this spiritual life coach. His name was Dawa, out of Santa Barbara. And it was quite expensive. I mean, I spent like, $25K to work with him for like 12 one-hour phone sessions, right? I mean, this was like an investment, but I'd felt led to work with him and loved it. It was a great experience. But I remember getting on a call with him in like August, and we'd started working together maybe in like February. And I'd been dealing with a decent amount of anxiety. I had a large event coming up, a lot on the line financially. So understandably so, but I was really hot. And I don't mean hot in a good way. I mean, I was really hot and bothered that I was having anxiety come up, considering all the work that I had done. Because my former perfectionistic self, I'm a Capricorn, just to like out myself, I was like, check the boxes. I've done the coaching. I've done the work. I've been to the mountaintop. I've done this spiritually. I've done these things. Shouldn't I be, quote, healed now?
Yeah.
Can you relate to that?
Capricorn.
Yeah. But can you relate to like,
totally.
Hey, I've hired the shaman. I've done the thing. I did the retreat. I've paid for all the high-end coaches. I've been to the workshops. I've been to the retreats.
Yeah. How am I here again?
Yeah. And you're like, wait, I'm doing all the things. And I remember getting on this call, and I was so bugged because anxiety was up for me. And I'm like, I already know there's nothing to be anxious about. There's nothing to fear. And why am I in fear? And I'm so pissed. Like, I was just bothered. And he just slightly chuckled in his cute little Indian voice. And he was like, Tiffany, we practice love versus fear. And that word practice changed for me.
Gives you grace.
Yeah. But we are practicing. And so I just share that as that, again, as we're working on these concepts in your habits, and whether it's in your finances, like I was saying, or it's in your sales, or it's in your love life, or it's in your health and wellness, to be gentle with yourself, that the weeds do return. But we don't have to be afraid of the weeds or ticked at the weeds. We now have more tools where we're like, okay, I'm going to close the gap. So for me, my own evolution is I want to close the gap faster when I get off track.
Okay.
When I'm back down the negative thinking, when I'm in the thinking or the thoughts or the feeling states of less than, not this, not that, not working out, the old stories.
You're not sidelined as long, because it happens, right?
Yeah.
But rather than let it ruin you for weeks,
right?
It's days or minutes sometimes. Right. If you have that level of awareness around your thoughts, that's powerful. I love that. Yeah. I feel as though I still am working on that grace. I think that once in a while I would slip into my funk, or whatever you want to call it, being out of alignment, and I would be there for a long time. And then I would all of a sudden have a moment of waking up. And it seems like my waking up now, because of these habits, these tools that I've created, I think I'm not in it as long. And because of that, I have an overall, average, better life. Does that make sense? It just is because I just spent so much time in those dark spaces without knowing how to get here. Like, what am I doing? And so it's about having those tools. That's amazing. That is good stuff.
And I think, can I just make sure we pin something though?
Let's.
So when I say that, again, it's like change your story, change your life, is I invite you listening to literally put into writing the story you choose to tell about any of these areas of your life. Who are you? You get to choose that, because often we're letting our emotions determine everything. If we feel worthy, right? If I can riff on this for a minute, I was speaking recently to it was like teens and their moms in the room, and it was just a gorgeous event talking heavily about self-esteem and self-worth. is you're always worthy. Now, you may not feel that way. Your worth never changes. Your feelings change all the time.
That's right.
And so I think it's important to have the discernment there is like you're already worthy, but talking about and writing story, literally scripting your life, like you're the writer, producer, director of the life, your main character energy. You are the person in your life. So take back the reins and literally map out, put it into writing. Because you hear me say that. And you're like, oh, that's a cute little personal development morsel, but it's like, no, sit for a bit, grab that journal or that laptop and write out some of the core languaging to who are you and what your ideal life looks like financially, personally, professionally, romantically is like, I am this woman, I am this man, I am doing these things. These are the habits. These are the choices I make. This is the life I'm creating. Even if it goes against, especially if it goes against what your current reality is your circumstances. Often we're like, well, once my circumstances change, then I'll believe versus we have to believe and we do the inner work. Now we're architecting. So script out your life, get very intentional. It's like, this is who I'm being. This is who I'm becoming. This is what I'm creating. And then read it, review it, even record it. I have mine on voice audio on a voice app where I record myself saying, and the important thing here is in present time language. I learned a lot of these gems from a dear friend, Ann Webb, and her process called Ideal Life Vision years back. But it's like scripting it into present tense versus, for instance, saying, I will work out 3 times a week. It's, I am working out 3 times a week and I am walking every single day, or I'm doing this. I am that. I am producing in the top 100 of realtors in the state of Utah, or I am this, I am this, I am that. I'm showing up in love. I'm connected to my husband and I'm doing these things. Like you script out your life of who you choose to be and then review it, either read it or listen to it in a way that reminds your brain and impresses upon your brain and importantly, your subconscious, this is who I choose to be. Because again, you're all going to live up to your identity. And the more that we like tell ourselves, this is who I choose to be versus letting your feelings only run the show. And this is the real work because emotions are everything. I mean, this is the self-mastery work because sometimes I'm not in the best mood or I feel discouraged. I feel defeated, or I'm like, gosh, I'm just like, And it's easy to be like, man, I'm just going to sit on the couch and eat chips and like do that versus, no, I'm going to wait, no, this is who I'm going to be. Or here's some of and part of that toolbox is also having those self-soothing things that help you. Right. But I just wanted to make sure we circle back to that because it's easy to, to throw that one out there of like, change your story, change your life. And it sounds really sexy. Put it on a bumper sticker, put it on a meme on Facebook. But to really sit with that, to say, what's the story I'm going to choose to tell, and to take that into your life and actually take the action of writing it out, reviewing it, and massaging that into like, I'm going to become more aligned with who I choose to be.
Tony Robbins says the value of your life is equal to the value of the questions you're asking yourself.
So good.
Right? Yes. That's a good one.
So good.
And so if I were to, or let me say, if you were to, in your coaching practice, like what questions, what journaling prompts would you say, let's have 2 or 3 that you would say, these are questions in your defining that you need to be answering. What do you need to be thinking about?
So I love to start like play with the big picture of like the desire. And I love the word desire even more than saying, what do you want is what do you desire?
What do you desire?
Right. And you just ask that. And sometimes it's lots of little things. It's like one of my desires that I'm playing out on a fairly regular basis is having a very slow, intentional morning where I'm not taking on work and typical things before 10 a.m. in the morning. And it's like, I wake up and it's like, I want prayer time, reading time. I'm going to do a workout, make a really good, protein heavy breakfast, put myself in like optimal state. But I get to welcome the day with a lot of just tiff time. That's an example, right? I'm not saying you guys have to model that. You can have whatever kind of morning you choose, but that might not sound like, hey, I take over the world, but man, creating a life that financially and emotionally can support that. And I have the time and the capacity to do that has been one of those things. So getting really clear on your desires. What do you want? What do you desire? And you can look at the different categories, personally, professionally, financially, romantically, friendship, relationship category, travel, fun, spirituality, giving back, generosity. Like, I don't think our lives are that full. That's why I love the work that you're doing and why we're here today is having things that are about contribution and giving back. So I would start there is what do you desire? And just letting yourself even play with that. Right now, sometimes I like to get out flip chart paper and like colorful markers, like take us back to grade school and like make it fun in that way. But writing out some of those desires. Secondly, then I would look at the conversation or the question around those desires. I would ask myself, what kind of habits do I need to have that put me in alignment to that desire? Because we know this, like one of my favorite books of all time is James Clear's work, right? Atomic Habits. You've heard it, you've read it. I reread or re-listen to it every January. My Thrive community, which is my month-to-month coaching group, we just went through that in January as a collective as well. But it's reminding us of, again, the power of your habits. And then part of that, I would say the third component is that I would measure your goals that are based on effort/habits than on outcomes. That's a huge game changer. I'll say it again, because I know Rob's looking at me with like, wait, what? Is to measure or track progress based on effort/habits versus outcomes. Is set the big goals. And if you want a vision board, cool. You want to put the images together, the travel you want to do, the home remodel or the home upgrade or the this, the that, the Chanel handbag, just saying that might, those kinds of things. But whatever, from giving back to small things, big things, whatnot, like have the big dreams, but then you start putting in the alignment, which is what are the habits that need to be there to have that outcome. And then looking at when I'm in measuring of my goals, I'm measuring habits versus outcomes. Really common example is rather than measuring the number on the scale, right? As humans, we can all relate to this goal, no matter what we do, is I would focus more on the habits and measure the effort. Like one of my affirmations/intentions is I move my body every day. And whether that's a walk and a class, just a walk, just a class. And I don't mean just like it's not enough, but it's like one or the other, both, or I get on a trail or I do these things or, I go to yoga, whatever the case might be. It's like I move my body every day. It's clear, it's specific, it's measurable, right? And having that in our lives is how you start to make change. Because see, if my only measurement is the number on the scale, and I get on the scale, because actually what I've experienced in the last year, I'm working out more than I ever have, and my scale has gone up.
Muscle.
Yeah, I got a booty, guys. And I'm proud of that thing, but I got more muscle going on over here. But if I was just measuring by the scale versus I want to be healthy and strong and I want to feel better and have more energy and things like that, and I'm measuring the habits, like how much water do you drink a day? How much, I'm prioritizing my sleep, how much protein I'm trying to focus on a day, which that can be a part-time job in and of itself.
Oh my
right?
gosh. It's crazy.
But you know what I'm saying is if I was just focused on the number on a scale and outcome, then I would so defeat myself.
You would think you were failing.
Often.
Yeah.
Unless you get on the scale, cool, the number's there. But really, how's my energy? Where's my vitality, my life force, my radiance? Like I want that in my life. Same thing in sales and business. I would be tracking and celebrating. I nourish 20 relationships a week or 10. I do X amount of behaviors. I send a newsletter to my email list once a week or twice a month. I would track behaviors and I would track habits and efforts more than you can have the outcomes, which is like I used an outcome in your world, Rob, which is like I'm one of the top 100 realtors in the state of Utah in this year, or I double my sales volume by this. Right? Whatever business you're in, you can be like sales or how many clients or recognition, things like that. But then looking at the habits and measuring and watching and tracking your effort, because it's like, if I'm doing a lot of the right things, planting, nourishing, outcomes naturally gravitate towards that. But if I'm only focused on the outcome, like I have to make 7 sales a month. Okay, you can have that as a milestone, but I would more so hold yourself accountable to your revenue producing type activities, like the reach outs, the contacting, the nourishing, the networking, the follow-ups, the content that goes out, right?
That's gain thinking, not gap thinking. Have you read that book, The Gap and the Gain?
I haven't, but I've read a few of his other books and he's been on my show a few times too. It's Benjamin Hardy.
Yeah.
The cool guy. But will you explain it so everyone that hasn't read it understands that?
Well, if you're just thinking about, I'm not a success unless I close 7 deals this month.
Right.
That is very literal. It's black and white. But the fact of the matter is that success, in my definition of success, if my definition then becomes I had the total number of conversations necessary today in order to close 7 deals this month. Well, then that's what I should be measuring because I can control that. I can't control the economy or interest rates. I can't control people's decision process,
Right.
but I can control my behavior towards that. And if I can do that, then I'm in the gain. I had my total successful conversations today, whatever that is, or I spent that time on the phone, or I made those contacts, or whatever it is. Then I'm in a space of winning. And that is because the question I wanted to ask you is that what that does is create confidence.
Yes. Please just like, will you just like pin that so hard? Say that again.
Well, if you're winning in the skills and you said the behaviors, habits and behaviors, then well, when I first got into, I'll just illustrate it with a story. I first got into real estate, and I would walk around the park in the morning, and I'm a successful realtor. I'm a successful realtor.
I love it. I wish this was on video, by the way.
It is.
It is.
It is on video. I'm a successful realtor, and I, looking back on it now, I didn't have a definition of what successful meant. But because I fell into a group of people that gave me the habits and behaviors that were necessary in order to create that success, I inadvertently became a successful realtor. I kind of did it unconsciously all wrong. But what I've learned now that I've been in the business as long as I have is that you only gain confidence through winning at the practices and habits and behaviors. You don't gain confidence in the number of deals you can close. Last year, I had a very low year. 71% of the real estate agents in the United States didn't close a single deal. And so I was really beating myself up on
Yeah, but you closed a bunch of deals.
A bunch, relatively speaking. But in that relative thinking, once I made that shift, I'm like, oh, I'm a successful realtor. I'm a successful realtor. And I was doing the things that were necessary. And the only reason that I had that is because I was doing those little habits and behaviors. So confidence comes, confidence is felt, and then you're trusted. And that's what it's about, is building relationships in trust.
Right. But the magic everyone is actually all after, no matter what their goal is some form of more sense of self-confidence, inner peace, freedom. Like, because when I feel more confident, you feel more free and you feel more like alive and like, ooh, I can take on the world.
Yeah.
And I feel good. And that's ultimately what we're after. And there's various ways we can activate that state. But this is exactly what Rob just said, is like, this is like the sugar, gold, whatever you want to say, is when you're following through on your habits and identified actions and efforts, that even if today the sales haven't quite shown up yet, or the health goal or the love of your life or whatnot, it's like, I'm doing the things that put me into alignment, and that's confidence building. Is I feel great after a workout.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
I feel great after I've connected with someone in my network and like added value to them, and we've created a deeper connection. And whether they go on to hire me or not, like I feel I've elevated my frequency, because that's really like our favorite F word is frequency. And you're like, ooh, what's the frequency that we're in? And we're all playing by energy, and confidence is simply an energy that's really magnetic. And the more that you're like, listen, I'm the boss of me, so to speak. I've owned my morning in such a way. Now I'm going to go make sales calls. Right. That's why for me, I'm such a big believer of a morning ritual. I'm not saying it has to be 3 hours or lots of time. It can be, but it's more,
what do you need? You're
doing things exactly that put you into the alignment of, hey, I've shown up for me.
I feel good.
Right.
And in feeling good, I'm going to attract people. It's
right. And I think this is such an important conversation I was having recently with a group, which is, again, back to worth versus feelings, is you're not more worthy because you make your bed in the morning. You hear this like, make your bed first thing in the day. Sure, you can. And it puts you into a frequency, and it puts your room into a frequency, but you're not more worthy. I'm not more worthy because I pray every day. Like, that doesn't make me more worthy, but it puts me more into alignment with the light. I'm not more worthy because I did a workout today. Your worth stays the same, guys. You're already worthy. What you're shifting is your feelings, and you're shifting your frequency to be more intentional, to say, I'm creating a bedroom that I come home into, that the bed's made and that I like how that feels, or but you're not a better person for it.
No.
But it's frequency. But I think that matters, because sometimes on the flip side, people are like, oh, I didn't make my bed today. Gosh, I'm just such a this, or I didn't do this thing. Like, you guys don't have to do a morning ritual. All they are alignment practices that put you more intentionally in a space where you're like, I'm setting myself up to win.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's not about luck. anymore. It's
No.
about intentionally.
Yes.
I tell my team, let's get on the railroad tracks to be hit by the train of success.
Yes.
And if you're on the side of the tracks, the train will pass you right by and you'll feel, oh, there's success. There it goes. But in order for me to feel successful, what do I need to do to get on the tracks?
Right.
And I have a very specific, I do my MVP. Have I told you about that?
Tell me.
My MVP is a mini business plan every day, which are my 10 non-negotiable things I have to do in order to feel successful today.
Mm.
And those things are habits and behaviors. They're not, some things have to be done. Like I'm about to run out of clothes. I got to go to the dry cleaner. That's on my MVP today. And that's necessary. But most of the time it's like, did I have the conversations? Did I do these things that I know are going to build the relationships in the future? What am I willing to do today that others won't so I can have what others don't? And I put that on the list. I'm not allowed to go home until I check everything off that list. And in that clarity, I move from one thing to the next that are important. A lot of us, I think, drift. We're like, okay, I just finished those emails. Now what am I supposed to do? There's no gap in my nextness, And I think that that's really been influential in my life. But the thing, I guess what I'm trying to say with that in alignment with what you're saying is when I finish my MVP, I do it on a little 3x5 card because I'm an old guy. I don't do it in my phone.
I love a 3x5 card.
They're so great. And I fold that in half and I throw it into the trash and it's like a little victory. Like I kicked today's butt.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't close the deal today,
Right.
I did all the things necessary in order to feel successful. And therefore I'm a success. And I can go home and guess what my kids feel? They feel that dad was a success. What does my wife see? She sees a successful man when I walk in the door.
Isn't that sexy?
I hope.
It is. Right? Well, think about it. Confidence is an energy. And you think about this, that a girlfriend and I, we talk about this, and she is a yoga instructor and she's a knockout and she's stunning. We talked about how but what's the most stunning thing about her is her energy. Right? And the reality is like confidence is, sexy is not a body type. It's an energy.
Yeah. And
so when we think about being more magnetic, we could also change out the word sexy for magnetic or magnetism is when you rule your own roost, it's like, hey, I'm the captain of my soul, so to speak. I'm mastering me. I'm in alignment with these things. I can hold my head high and I can have that energy to be that man, to be that woman that's like, ooh, yes, because I'm in alignment with those things. I just love, I already knew you were practicing lots of these things, that it isn't necessarily new. And many of you listening, this won't necessarily be new. It's just maybe taking an inventory to saying, am I in alignment? Am I living this? Maybe I need to brush up or recommit to some of these key pieces, or maybe I've let myself kind of drift back into some of that old identity, those old patterns.
And there's the weeds.
Ding them. And I'm going to come back with more intention to who I choose to be and what I'm choosing to create. I'm going to align my tools so I put myself more into that frequency and into that experience where then more of the things you do want are showing up.
The thing that you're saying, I love all that you're saying. The thing that has really resonates with me is that when I made these choices, when I stepped into understanding what it is I want in a spiritual life and what I want for my family and what I want for my education, and I got clear about that, and I did it with a sense of like excitement of like, what do I desire? Like it's that Christmas that I know mom and dad did good and I'm going to get whatever it is. I'm getting that bicycle.
I love that.
And I had that young, hopeful excitement around it. When I started to do that, then is when I took the pen back. I became the author. And in so doing, I've been creating my own heaven.
This is so good. Church with Rob on a Wednesday. Church with Rob. I'm here for this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
That's right.
Hallelujah.
And I believe that the heaven that I can receive is the heaven that I can create. And I'm creating the greatest heaven that I can. Now, does that mean my life is not fraught with problems and distractions and failures? No, absolutely not. But most of the time when I do my MVP and I take a moment to visualize my success in each one of those spaces, I imagine that I'm going on that listing appointment and it's not confrontational. I don't have to argue about my commission. We're going to be great friends. They're going to see my value. We're going to be teammates in helping them sell their home. And we're going to walk out of there and I'm going to give them hugs and they're going to be so grateful that they had a chance to meet with me. Does it always go that way? No. But because I see it that way, when I walk in the door, I've created the opportunity for that. When I get on the phone to prospect people, I'm sending people to lending. They're excited to talk to me. They're so grateful that they had a chance to talk to someone who actually wants to lead them in a loving, caring way. And so prospecting isn't hard for me because I've already imagined myself winning and being successful in that space. And that's what's the powerful part of what you're saying is these continual little practices in creating a character of my success. And that's what I'm trying to do every day. And it's like building a muscle. I talk about it all the time. Once you start to create that character, well, then all of a sudden you start to walk like that guy. I am a successful realtor. I am a successful realtor. And you start showing up with that swagger, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, holy cow, you're a success. And I feel like that can be in every part of your life, in all of those areas, in your spiritual life, in your physical life, in your relationships. But you have to take that control. And control is through clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. I love this.
It's so good.
I love it. It's just like, this is, we're in the sweet spot of talking about it. And I think that one of the things that has shown up really strongly for myself and my own growth is how much do you trust yourself? And that's ultimately a lot of what you're talking about, is the more that we follow through. It's like in any relationship. Back in my corporate days, I had the opportunity to work for Stephen Covey and his work and Covey leadership and Franklin Covey, and learned how to sell over the phone and close people for several $1,000s over the phone, like a 1-2 call close kind of thing. It was quite a training. Again, you guys, I was never going to be in sales. I grew up here in Utah. I thought I was initially I thought I'd be a special needs teacher. I was going to school for that, and I worked in 3 classrooms as the aide to the teacher over 2 years. Really thought I was going to be a traditional educator, and then go on to get married and be a stay-at-home mom and raise babies and sew Halloween costumes and things like that. And life went on a very different path, even though there's a similar heartbeat, right? Like, I've always loved teaching. I've always loved education and knowledge in all its forms. So that to say, though, this concept, right, again, is trusting yourself and this following through. But I learned this from the Covey world, is the concept of trust, right? And the fastest way we build trust with anyone else is to make and keep commitments. And the fastest way we break trust is to do what?
Break commitments.
Well, the same thing with ourselves rings true too, is the fastest way we are building trust with ourselves is to make and keep commitments. So every time you follow your MPB every day and you check those things off, right? And if you've ever had the experience where you did something that wasn't on the list and you wrote it on the list just to check it off.
Totally.
Come on, tell the truth.
Yeah, I totally do that. Yeah. Winning.
I'm like, ooh, I love that. I was like, I got this thing done that wasn't on the list. Write it on the list just to check it off. Because that's a little bit of a rush, you know? But as you're doing that, you're building trust in yourself. And when we also, on the flip side, make and break commitments, we're eroding trust. Now, that's not to say, like, sometimes life is going to life us. We might have the prettiest plan and your 7-year-old breaks their arm on the trampoline and you're off to the ER and there goes the rest of your afternoon. But that's sometimes life, right? But if we're regularly in patterns of, or more often than not, following through on the things we say we're going to do, you're going to build more trust. And that trust gives you a sense of, I trust myself. I can receive this. I'm ready for more clients. But see, here's where I remember a woman, she's also in real estate. She sells down in St. George, and she's just recently been on the board of, the president down there. And she's just a vibrant woman. And when she hired me to coach her, and we were working with her in her business, growing her business and attracting more agents and things like this. But I said to her on something out of the gate, when we were first coaching together, is I said to her when she was sharing with me some things, I said, she's telling me about these big dreams and these big goals. And then we're talking about current systems and habits in place. And I said, here's the truth. You're not going to manifest that just yet because you don't trust yourself to receive it.
Wow.
And she was like, hot dang, girl. And I'm like, well, you didn't hire me to be your best friend. You hired me to change. So we just told the truth, and in a loving way. But that is what I'm doing when I'm coaching, is like bringing people into alignment. Is if right now, any one of you listening, again, I know we keep referencing real estate, but because of Rob's awesome profession, but anything you're doing, if you're like, I'm ready for more clients, like maybe you're a coach like myself and you're like, I want more clients, or I want to sell more of my products to people and these things. But again, the nervous system's running the show. And if you're already right now maxed out, tapped out, exhausted,
burned out,
do you really want to attract more clients?
No.
You sure as hell don't.
Yeah.
Because you're not have capacity to hold it. But if you regularly are in self-trust where you're like, I take time for me, I get my workout in, I do the things, my prayer, meditation, I'm honoring family time, I'm doing the things that build me up, I trust myself. Hot dang, I'm aligned and ready to receive more clients, the promotion, the opportunity, these things because I trust myself. But if you regularly are like, I push my needs off, I don't take care of myself, I let everyone else come before me, their needs, their emergencies, their urgency, my things get pushed to the side, you don't trust yourself. So those big dreams and goals aren't going to show up because you're not trusting yourself. You have to get into alignment with your word. Like you were saying, is like, I say I'm going to do and I do. Trust goes up. When trust goes up, confidence goes up, magnetism goes up. And it works in the opposite. And so a lot of times it's just looking at, am I in alignment? Again, I love this word because it's just like, am I aligned for the very things I want to show up? Do I trust myself for them to show up? Am I doing the things that will build the body of trust? And none of us are perfect, but it's like, hey, come back to like, what are my core key habits that I'm going to start measuring my success by? Not my outcomes. Those are cool, but those are coming if I'm in alignment.
Right. It's a byproduct of alignment.
Right.
Man.
Tell me what you're thinking, because I watched the wheels just turn over there for a minute.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I think I have bottlenecked my business with the belief that I've got enough. I'm maxed out. I've taken on, I'm enough. I've got 12 listings right now. I've got 5 buyers. We've got all these deals under contract. There's plenty that's going to be coming in. I'm maxed out. But that's just a limiting belief. The fact of the matter is that I could do more. I have the capacity to do more. I need to find the systems in which I can do that I could give up something or take something on, that I need to find clarity around that, because my limiting belief has capped my ability to be successful. I'm very successful. I've got a very active imagination on what I'm worth and what I can do. But at the same time, when I hit this point, I kind of throw the towel in. So when I get on the phone and I am prospecting, I'm not fully.
You're like, please don't pick up.
Yeah,
Please don't answer.
Yeah, you want to do this in like 6 months. Let's do this in 6 months. I'll get you.
Yeah, great. Perfect. Thanks for letting me off the hook.
Yeah, I got to go back. And so
isn't that wild?
It's crazy. And I had kind of when you said that and then you can look at me, I don't play poker for a reason, but like you can see me like, that's a switch that went off. I'm limiting my abundance by my belief in I'm already busy. I'm already doing things. I have a lot on my plate. And when people tell me they're busy, I kind of want to punch them in the neck.
You're like, really?
You're not busy. You are. How much scrolling did you do today? How much TV did you watch tonight?
Right.
They're limiting their ability to be successful because there's no reason. And I enjoy my life. I have a lot that I'm doing. And I'm not saying that I guess I have been saying it in a way that has limited me. I could do more. I do have capacity for more. I have capacity for more love and more abundance. Mm-hmm. But my belief in like, God, I'm tired. Like I have handled a lot today. I could do better. Mm-hmm. But and I guess what I would do if I had a coach like you, I would say, here's my belief. This is where I'm maxed out. And you would help me go through and be like, okay, well, what are some of the things you can give away? Maybe it's time for another hire. Maybe it's time to maybe you shouldn't be the one that's showing the houses anymore, because you could hire someone to show the houses and you could still build those meaningful relationships. Mm-hmm. I just have to get out of my own way. And I clearly, I had a moment of like, I am in my way.
Yeah. Can we do something in live time just right now?
Oh, let's go. I'm so excited.
Because I think you're such a sharp guy and it's like, yes. And maybe truly it's like, let's hire more support. Because usually when we're wanting to grow, there's 3 S's we want to align. I love a good alliteration. So yes, but it's like we need more self-care. So I have the energy or fuel in the tank. I need systems and I need support. Growth requires those things to come into alignment when we're like, I want to go next level.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. Self-care, systems, support. So one of the things I'd want you to do right now for me is I want you to, I'm not going to hypnotize you. I don't know how to do that.
Do it.
But put that cute pen down and I want you to put your hand on your heart, one on your heart, one on your solar plexus, your belly, and close your eyes for me. And I just want you to find your body in this room and in that chair, feel that chair up against your back. And just feel the breath come into your body, this life force. Go ahead and unclench your jaw.
Is it obvious? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just breathe in and breathe into that belly of yours. We're so grateful for this belly and this heart that's beating. And just drop your shoulders. And your next breath in, I want you to see as if you're breathing in through the center of your chest. I want you to see as if gold and white light comes right into the center of your chest. Anything that feels heavy, go ahead and release that. Just through your breath, go ahead and just breathe that out. Breathe that light in and see the light start to fill up your belly and down your legs, down your shoulders. And as you take in this next breath, I want you to ask just of yourself. I just want you to ask the question, what do you need, sweetheart? And sweetheart is intentional, but ask yourself, what do you need, sweetheart? What do you need, Rob? You just let yourself ask for what you really need right now. It's not bigger, more, bigger, more, bigger, more. It's what do you really need right now? Yeah. And what is it, hun? What do you need?
Oof. I need to be nicer to Rob.
Yeah. And what does that mean or look like for you? Kinder, softer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I am pretty driven and I'm pretty hard on myself, driving hard to do and be.
Right.
And I probably should. No, I need to. What I need to do is give myself a little grace for where I'm at. Be grateful for that rather than running to the horizon, because it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think if I could spend more time in that place and have more peace, I could find more fulfillment and more success, because I don't spend time there. I'm constantly pushing, driving, nexting myself right to death. And it has served me. My life is pretty great, but I'm not giving myself that kindness. I'm kind to everybody else, though.
Yeah, I know you are. So I would sit with that and I would look at that and just ask, what would that look like and mean? And when you use the word peace, to have more peace, it's like, what are some of the things, like first thing top of mind, your knowing, just trust your knowing. There's not a right answer, but asking yourself, like, what's one thing I'm craving more of that brings more peace to my life?
I need to be home more.
Okay.
Be present when I'm there.
Yeah. And being just present for Rob, though, too. Because again, that's not about showing up for others, although that's part of it. Yes, but it's like more present to you. And maybe just let that question be your new best friend for the next 7 to 10 days is, what do you need, sweetheart? And the sweetheart, again, is intentional because it invites that tenderness. It invites that kindness. It's imagining is like you're asking 4-year-old or 7-year-old little Rob, what do you need, sweetheart? And giving yourself this. And if it's more rest, more just quiet time, white space in your calendar. Maybe for you, you're like, I'm going to finger paint again with some of the kids, or I'm going to woodwork, or I'm going to do something that just lets me breathe and lets me just, come into more of that. And I think that energy will deepen some of the trust for some of these next goals if you even really want them. But it's the permission. And again, we're back to trust is you've learned how to create, and that has come through a lot of hustling. And I so acknowledge your work ethic. Like, you're a freaking hard worker. I love that. And this might just be more of the feminine influence into your space too, is allowing yourself that all creation doesn't have to come with grind. And your worth isn't like, you're not less worthy if, heaven forbid, you're like, I start opening up once or twice a week, a 2-hour pocket in the day where it's just Rob time. And if I want to take a nap, oh my gosh, take a nap? Is that what a hustler does? Yeah. Take a nap, or I want to go up the mountains, or I want to do this or that, or I want to do some things that just invite. And it's like, befriend him a little bit more. It's like, what do you need? And let that get some love.
Hard. This is what you're saying is hard for me, because there is nothing without the grind. Everything good in my life has come because I've worked hard for it. There's nothing that has been given to me without a sacrifice. And I really have a hard time. Annie talks to me about this all the time. Like, suffering is optional, Rob. Like,
Go, Annie. I know.
But I have a hard time with putting it down because it is I'm so fearful of failing.
I know, babe, but it's just a fear that's like a boogeyman. And we're not also talking about you just like sitting by the river for 7 weeks and doing nothing and expecting deals to close. But this is why I like having measurements around effort. So that way, let's get some of these effort things done by noon, by 1 o'clock. I've put in the time, I've done the things. And I know it's not always you might call on this and this thing didn't go through, or these things are up. And so, yeah, some of it is more systems and support, but self-care. It's like, do I have the fuel in the tank to manifest the very thing that I want? Do I have the energy? And if you're like, I'm tapped, I'm tired, then let's nourish that that's tired, while we also bring into alignment perhaps some systems or hire more support that can help with some of the lifting. So you can do what you're magnetic at, which is connecting with people. You're so good at that. But all the extra stuff, right? That maybe you aren't showing all the homes and doing all the things. So just some thoughts to consider. And thank you for the courage to right in live time, be like, but my intuition was like, I want you to ask inner Rob, little Rob, like that knowing, like, what do you need, sweetheart? It's one of my favorite questions. I ask it of myself when I find myself also, I'm tired, I'm cranky, I'm dysregulated is the fancy word we're using for it now, but it's like, I'm out of sorts. What do you need, sweetheart? And giving it to myself. And sometimes it's like, I want to watch a movie. Okay. And sometimes it's like, I should go, I want to walk. I just need some outdoor time. Or I want to get cuddled and snuggled, and I'm going to go enroll my husband into that. Like, whatever it is, but it's asking yourself more often is, again, this is about trust. And there's part of you that says, if I don't go Mach 80 at full speed all the time, I'm going to lose this success.
That's right.
And it's just not real. It's a belief, so it feels real. And again, on the flip side, I'm also not saying we don't put effort and energy, because effort is required to produce and to create. But it's like this irony where sometimes the fear is like, whatever is going to bring you into greater harmony and energy alignment is going to help you grow the most. And so some trust there that's like, hey, maybe I get a little bit of time. Not just I'm doing this for all these people, for all of these humans, because you're such a giver, but giving to Rob. What does Rob need?
I have on my phone alarms that say, take 3 deep cleansing breaths at 11:11. And
I love it.
And then I've got another one that says, what do you need right now? Period. It doesn't say sweetheart, because I'm not in the habit.
I'll ask you about it.
But that alarm I ignore. I never stop and do whatever that is, because I'm so nexting all day. And you know what I mean when I say nexting? Like I've got my MVP, I've got my spokes of the wheel, I've got all of these things that have to be done. And I think it is around worthiness. I think that if I have to be completely honest, it's because if I don't do those things and I'm not succeeding at that high level, then I am unworthy of all the goodness in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
That's why we were saying earlier is like the discernment between worth and feelings. And that it's like, if I make my bed, cool. If I don't make my bed, cool. My worth doesn't change.
Right.
If I get on the phone and connect with 17 people today or none, My worth hasn't changed. Now my frequency might be different.
Yeah.
Right. But it's absolutely, I mean, how many of you listening can relate to Rob? And maybe you get in Rob's DMs or send him a text or a message and say, Rob, thank you so much for the courage to have such a real conversation today. I so needed to hear that, is in lifetime seeing how often, the belief is if I don't grind all the time, I must not be enough. And so I'm going to outwork that feeling. I'm going to outwork that belief. If I just work hard enough, I won't have to feel that feeling versus just sit with that feeling.
Feelings.
Oh boy, Tiff, feelings.
Feelings. I was part of a group with Kate, and they would rate their feelings 1 to 10. This is a funny story. And 10 is feeling strongly about how are you feeling spiritually? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling? All these different levels of feelings. And you'd have to write in your journal every week how you're feeling. And I didn't realize, this is so embarrassing. If it was a 10, it was bad. I'm feeling a tremendous amount of feelings in this space. And I'm just like, how do I limit that? And then in this group, they were like, oh, a 10. That's great that you're feeling all those these feelings. And I was just like, oh,
what?
I'm
I'm
doing
so mad
it wrong.
that there's so many feelings.
Who has time for all of these feelings?
I can do 2 a day, not at the same time.
Yeah.
That's my limit.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. You're like, who are all these rascals? These emotions
these
running around.
Emotions. And so it's an interesting thing, this emotional regulation, that here I am this late in my life and I'm still just like feeling all my feelings.
Yeah, but grace, babe. Feel those feelings. Like, here I am at this age of my life. Yeah. And as long as you're alive, the weeds return. The work is here, the opportunity to practice. But just backing it back out, how we got down this path was when I was modeling that my client was not in alignment to manifest her next level of her results because she was regularly not honoring herself. She wasn't doing the self-care habits and practices. She was regularly compromising her needs to help take care of everyone else's needs. So alignment-wise, she wasn't aligned to manifest what she said she wanted next because deep down, she didn't trust herself. She was already exhausted. She was already burnt out. And so all of you listening, again, the opportunity to just get real honest with yourselves. That's all we're doing, is just telling the truth. And it isn't right or wrong.
It's just clarity.
It's just clarity to say, hey, if I want this, this, and this, what are the habits? What are the things? Do I trust myself that I'm going to take care of myself? That way I know how to handle these next tiers of success. I know how to have tough conversations if needs be. I know how to, if I need to hire more support, I'm going to do that, or ask for help, or speak up if something, that's not going great. But, we're all practicing these habits. And so it's just giving ourselves grace. But again, this concept of where the ahas started before we went down to the dropping in, what do you need, sweetheart, was this awareness of like, I'm bottlenecking and I'm like, get to a certain level of success. And then I'm kind of letting off the gas because I don't want to be, I'm already at capacity.
Yeah, it's painful to go any further.
Yeah, it would be. And so it's like, well, how do I take better care of this and ask and honor intuitively what's coming up for me? And in my areas of my growth model, do I need more self-care? And if so, what does that look like and mean to fuel the tank? Do I need more systems in place that would help? Do I need more support or different support that can help me get to where it is that I want to be? That I don't have to do it alone. I don't have to slug this out by myself.
Right. Yeah. Man. Amazing. I knew you were going to be good at this.
Well, thank you again for the courage to just have real time, and for the folks, your community too, to see you're still working this out, and the courage and the willingness to do that. Like, it just makes everyone just love you even more. And just some of the real talk, but it's like every one of you can have the things you want and the things you desire. It's just, am I aligned to have them? Do my stories, do my beliefs, does my identity match? Do my habits match? And not that has to all be perfect, but that it's an active work in progress where I'm making those changes to come into alignment. And you've heard me say the word alignment or intention a lot today.
Yeah.
Because those are the universal principles we're playing with for creation. Creation works off the same principles every single time.
Yeah.
It's just like how a baby gets here. It's off the same principles every single time of creation. Well, creating any dream or goal are these same things as vision, clarity, decision, habits, structure. And therefore you've put yourself into alignment and you're in the game of bringing to life these desires that you have.
That's powerful. I think that when I'm out of alignment, incongruent is when I feel the most friction in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a tremendous, if you're not listening, folks, like that's the exclamation point. That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for letting me hang out with the cool kids today and like talk about some of these things, because this is good for me, my own work and my own life. It's like the more that you are in it. And that's why I said I'm a student. It's like I'm a teacher. Sometimes I'm a student always of the work, because it's like, oh, for myself. And then also part of that and the work is also having a lot of fun. I think some of our highest forms of spirituality is play.
Yeah.
I think one of the sexiest things you can do for yourselves is to prioritize your play. And that because again, it's back to an energy fuel where it's like when I'm playing and I'm like, I'm on, it's just like money loves me, right? But when I'm all stressed and I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I'm not taking breaks and I'm up against the grind all the time, I'm not as magnetic. And so it's ironic. Sometimes I'll ask my client, I'm like, I want you to take the rest of the day off. That's happened a few times in a coaching session. And they're like, what? No, didn't you hear? I'm so stressed. And I said, you're not sexy and you're not magnetic. Do you think you're going to attract much when you're in this state? Is go take a nap, go to the movies, but it's the middle of the day. Yep. Do it. Go play, go give yourself permission. That's like all the shoulds to be responsible. Again, it's an identity to do this. It's like, what if we could create more? Just what if we could create as much or more, but with more fun, play, and freedom versus hustle, earnings, struggle, strife towards it. Just saying, why don't we try that on just for make believe for a little bit? Just try it out.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Why not?
You can always come back to the alternative.
Yeah, what I'm good at.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm good at that struggle, strife.
Yeah, right.
I got misery dialed, baby. Oh man, good stuff. Well, listen, fans, if you've enjoyed this, please share it. This has been one of my favorite podcasts because it hits so personally. Alignment, congruency. Who do I need to be? How am I showing up? What is needed?